at 28 years old, when I had my first drug, and it affected my body, how could I not love that drug? It took all the pain away. It took that little boy that wasn't picked. I didn't care. The kid that didn't have a father. I didn't care. It didn't matter. I didn't care about nothing. All I knew is that I felt something that I never felt, and that was a feeling that made me numb to my emotions. And that's how the journey began of my addiction.
My name is Margaret Close. I'm James's aunt, Margaret. But if you don't mind, I'm going to call him Little Jim, because that's who he is to me, or Jimmy, okay? I will refer to him as Jimmy as opposed to James.
In my time that I've known Jimmy, I have rarely met anybody whose aunt plays as big a role in his life as you do in Jimmy's life.
Right.
Because it's a constant, my aunt, in such positive ways since I've known him. It's always been. Tell me about when he was born and your relationship with Sis, and what was it like when she was a single mom?
Okay.
Please.
Well, growing up in Jersey City, we were poor, but we all lived around each other. We were all a support to one another. And obviously, Sis being a single mom, raising two boys, I lived upstairs from her. So I was there with her to help her out a lot, as well as my mom. So when he was born, he was colicky. I used to walk the floor with her until she healed herself. So Sis and I were always very, very close. And so we raised the boys together. Not just her, but my other sister and her kids, because we all lived around each other. So we were all very, very close. I was very involved in all their lives. We used to go to the schools and, because she was on assistance, until she was able to, I think they offered a program where she can go to school and get off assistance, and they did that, and she got a job. So as a result of being able to go to a Catholic school, you have to give back. You have to give back. So what we would do is we would go and, do lunch duty. We do lunch duty with them, and we all took turns. I took turns. My brother took turns. His Papa Joe took turns, and we would do lunch with them. So we're always with the boys. And then I wound up living with them as well. I was a big, big part of his life, so I was like his second mom. I actually went to school at night, and I went to, became an executive with a large insurance company in New York, and I actually moved out of state, when he was a little bit younger as well. I lived in Utah, I lived in California, and I kept coming back and forth, but always we always lived close together, so we were with each other all the time. And so Sis and I were Irish twins. We're like 9 months apart. She's older. Just so yeah, but little Jim, he was, I would call him, he was a little demon, growing up. Really all about him. He wanted what he wanted when he wanted to do it. And of course we gave him his ways at times, but not all the time. But in some ways I kind of felt bad for him because he had such a good heart, even as a little kid, and that he wanted to share that with people. But when he would get on a school bus, they would kind of beat him up a little bit, and I would feel bad that I couldn't take him to school, and then neither could Sis. But we got through it. He tried out on sports, he wasn't good at it, but he gave it a shot. He was actually the town mayor. Everybody in town knew him.
I feel like maybe you and Sis overindulged him because you were making up for the fact that Big Jim was away.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so was my mom. My mom played a very big role in his life as well. Our families did that. We all lived around, since we all lived around each other, my mom would cook if Sis was working, and so we'd run up and downstairs with the food. But yeah, we overindulged, and I'd get him whatever he wanted. If he wanted something, we'd make sure they had a good Christmas. Because of us growing up not having that, I'm probably the worst spoiler of all. And one thing I have to say is that I'm a big believer in giving back, because the church was very good to us. When we were growing up and we had nothing, the church was always there, especially at Thanksgiving. Somewhere along the line, I don't know where it happened, he wound up getting hurt, And I lived away, and when I had come home, I had heard about, his drug addiction. And I didn't really see it initially until I came back and lived here. When my mother got sick with cancer, I remember him asking her for one of her pills.
He was already using?
He was already using. And I said to him, don't you think that's the worst thing that you could do? But because she was so kind and didn't want him to hurt, she wound up giving him the pill. I told him, I said, don't ever do that again. I said, or you're not going to be allowed back here.
What were your feelings when James is now in active addiction and Sis is going through hell? What feelings did you have toward James?
I was very angry with him because I watched her go through hell, waiting for the phone calls. And if he called, he was hungry. And he wanted to come and stay. And she would say no. That bothered me that she wouldn't let him into the house. But I also understood because he stole from us, and especially me. And so we would go and get him food, and we would bring it to him. It was hard to see him like that. But we knew that he at least had something to eat. And we made sure he had a coat or something on.
How did you know where he was, Margaret?
He told us. He told us where he was. I never went to Penn Station with my sister and my brother-in-law, but we did at one point find him an apartment. We got some help, I think through Straight and Narrow or through the church, and he lived around the corner. So they helped with the rent, and so we would bring food there, for him. We said, we'll give you food, but we're not going to give you money. I think he called and he said he wanted some food. So Sis and I went to his apartment, and when we were in his apartment, we found my prescriptions on his counter. My sister went ballistics. But it was very, very difficult going through those periods, watching her go through that. She showed tough love, but she wasn't going to give in, having gone through that with her husband, right?
Yeah.
And she said, I did this 20 years ago. I'm not doing this again,
James is a great counselor. Since I've been here, I don't know him that much, but he put a change in my life. Like I'm 21, I'm young, but seeing him, man, that makes me go farther. The stuff he wear, everything he do for the 61 for us, it's big, man. It's big.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything you do for us.
Thank you.
That comes from my heart.
Thank you. I appreciate you. That means the world to me. That's why I'm here, though, for you.
I know. It's a role model. We love James.
Again.
Man, we love you, James.
I love you too, Michael. Thank you. God love you.
He's helping himself, and he's has grown to help others. I mean, he's really surprised me on how much he's helped others and how many.
How does that make you feel?
Great. I'm so proud of him.
How do you learn to trust again? Where do you even start?
Trusting him was very hard. Over the past couple of years, I've gotten to trust him more and more because I would do anything to help him to get him clean. And there are things that I've done and given him that my sister didn't know I did because I knew she'd be mad about it. But it took a long time to trust. And there's still a little doubt in my mind because I know Jim. He has the art of talk. Watching what he's done and seeing how he's helped people is helping me understand this happened for a reason. This happened for a reason. Like they say, everything happens for a reason.
Why do you think this had to have been his journey? He always says, God bless the journey. Why do you think this has been his journey?
I think he finally got to the point where he was tired and he used his faith to help him. And through that faith and through Straight and Narrow, and me being a big church believer, being a Catholic, knowing that they would help. I've even reached out to my own priest friends and that to see what we can do to get him somewhere. But he was able to do it on his own. And that was a blessing in disguise. Plus the courts helped a little bit. But the fact is he wanted to do it and his faith started to kick in and say, I can do this with God's help.
Do you see a big change in him spiritually?
Oh, big time. Big time. Everything with him now is, you don't worry about it. If something's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's in God's hands. God's going to direct me. I know what I'm doing because his mom will sometimes say, Jim, don't do it. I said, leave him be. He got this. He got this now, okay? So he's tried to find different types of churches to go to. Doesn't want to be Catholic anymore, at least I believe, and he's gone to different types of churches. But all of that has helped in his faith.
That's what we try to do in our work as well.
Yeah.
Try to get them to develop an intimacy with something greater than them.
And that's a hard thing to do because they have to want to do that, and Jim wants to do that. And more importantly, Jim wants to help others now.
Yes.
And I think between that and his faith, is helping him help others. And I'm very proud of him.
What's the family unity like now that James is okay?
The family unity is great now. It's good to see him to be a part of it because he has been away for so long. And so his brother talks to him now. And it was hard for his brother because his brother's watching his mom, right? Like we all were. And we were scared for her health, especially when she went through the cancer. But the family unity, we're all behind him. And he needs help. We're making sandwiches with him, and we're getting him whatever he wants to do. If he's going to speak somewhere, and he said, if you want to come, we'll come. He's doing a Zoom, get on the Zoom. You have to let him grow. Let him be the man that he's trying to be. Because sometimes mothers want to take control. They want to be, you do what I tell you to do. He's 47 years old. He got this.
Right.
Let him be. So yeah, the family unity, we're happy to have him. We're happy to have everybody back together again. So it's the power of God that helped us get together. And I give compliments to my mom for that because she kept us together. Jimmy's back here now because we came together as a group, as a family unity, and because he wants to be here and we want him here. So yeah, so without all of us doing this together, I don't know if he'd be alive today.